Hey folks, we're back. It's Helen and Liana here. And this is where we chat about books and movies and stories.
Yeah.
Today we're going to do something a little different. It's not a book chat today. I want to talk about Dawson's Creek. And yes, this is partially coming about because sadly James Van Der Beek passed away this week. From cancer, and he was only 48, which is kind of really jarring because he's very much a my era person, and Dawson's Creek was massive for us millennials, and Dawson's so it aired in Australia in 99. That's when it first came here, which is my first year of uni, so it was a very transitional time in my life. But this is not random because actually I was just working my way through Dawson's Creek again anyway. And I was in season 6, so the last season. And then James has passed, and I thought, okay, this is a good time to go and look at this and do a podcast about it.
Yeah.
So Liana and I stayed up a bit late last night and got the season finished. We pulled an 11:30, and that is like crazy late for us around here. But we got season 6 finished. We strategically skipped a couple of episodes so that we could get this done and do this recording. Because I had stalled in season 6, but that's one of the things we're kind of going to talk about today. So, for context here, clearly Dawson's Creek is not a Christian show, and yes, we normally talk about Christian content here. We are looking at this from a story perspective, and we're going to look at the character of Dawson today.
Briefly.
Yeah. We're going to look at his... Yes, because we could talk for hours. That's her point.
Yeah.
Could talk for hours. So we want to look at Dawson because... Okay, so you need to tell me if you are, someone who grew up with Dawsons as well, so like my age, please tell me, were you in Camp Dawson or Camp Pacey?
Or did you switch halfway?
Yeah, well, that's true. I suppose you could have changed.
Yeah.
So, for the record, I'm Camp Pacey all the way. So it's interesting. We're going to look at...
So am I.
Yes. We're going to look at Dawson here. Because if you are Camp Pacey, we tend to look at Dawson very harshly. So, which is valid because when we look at Dawson in the early seasons, the whole season 3 dynamic with him and Joey and Pacey literally brings out the worst in Dawson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go back. You have not watched the complete season, have you?
The complete series, no, but I've seen a lot from like a lot of different seasons.
Yeah.
Like I missed a lot of season 1. I basically saw all of season 3, bit of season 4, bit of season 5, most of season 6,
Yep. So season 3 is very much the pinnacle season.
Yes.
And both you and Zanae actually dropped off in your interest after season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to keep ploughing ahead with them, going through this series with them, and they just dropped like flies. It just it wasn't holding them. But, we'll need to talk about Pacey and Joey another time. Today we're going to look at Dawson.
Yes.
So, Dawson, in season 3, when the whole Pacey and Joey and Dawson dynamic was absolutely front line and centre and coming to life, it brought out the worst in Dawson. If you know the show well, you'll know how season 3, in the end of the last few minutes of that show, the episode, I'll get my words right, in that last episode, the internet, the world has often fixated on Dawson's ugly cry, right? After he's told Joey to go. You're free, as if he owned her. And that's the problem. Dawson is absolutely horrible at this point in time because he has treated her as a possession. He owns her. He's got first claim to her.
Yep.
And that's interesting. Do you remember how you first reacted to that when you watched it?
Oh, I was never the biggest Dawson fan, but I would just be like, well, where's Joey say in this? It's like, are you her best friend or are you like, I don't know, some guardian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, and again, my generation, comment below if you feel this. I don't think we had the emotional literacy as much when we were younger, first watching this, to really clock that. I think on some level we thought this was still romantic.
No.
So I think that shows quite an generational shift.
Yeah.
That you guys can clock that better than we did. So, but definitely looking at it now, every time I've rewatched it over the years, because I do periodically rewatch it, you know, that becomes clearer and clearer and clearer when I watch that. I'm like, this guy is so bad. And I can't put it down to adolescent immaturity because it doesn't seem
fair or right.
It seems more serious than that. So that's the way we tend to finish seeing Dawson if you are in the Pacey camp, right? Season 4 is not a whole lot better in terms of Dawson's behaviour.
Yeah.
But when we look beyond that, okay, if we go to season 5, there is a huge shift in the storyline because they all go off to college.
Yeah.
Uni is how we call it around here. But they all go off to college. Excuse Liana, she's had a cold. So it really shifts. And it's interesting to watch Dawson in that because Dawson's disconnected from the rest of the group when we get to season 5.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you've seen much of season 5. Did you? That was their first year uni. No. Okay. She really clocked out, okay? So season 5, Dawson's over in LA. So he's quite separate to the rest of the crew, which are, they're in Boston. And the major thing that happens to Dawson in season 5 is that his dad dies.
Yeah.
And I can clock now, rewatching this now, as I've recently completed this, that really changes Dawson, and actually he grows up. Dawson actually grows up. But it's to the point where his character isn't consistent with who that kid was in high school. Like, you know, it doesn't seem to really line up. But hey, that's great if he really could go from that self-absorbed, controlling guy to this finally maturing and, you know, and maybe the whole him being in LA, separate from the rest, maybe that his dad died, maybe, you know, that facilitated that growth. We could theorize that in a real world context. Yeah. You know, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so we're just looking at him, he's already changing and he grows up. Deals with his dad. Now, what I find really interesting is Dawson and Jen when they get together.
Oh yeah, what season?
I think that's season 5. So can't remember now.
Maybe season 5.
Somewhere in season 5. Yeah. Yes, it is season 5. He gets with Jen, and actually, they have a beautiful relationship, and he treats her so sweetly. Yeah. He's so respectful. He's so gentle and sweet with her. And you think, oh, wow, he looks very attractive like this. He actually, like, you know, you could forget what was happening back in Cape Side when they were younger. He's really sweet. And there was absolutely no reason why they couldn't have made it work except Jen. Yeah. Being insecure and sabotaging that. But he's really sweet there. Yeah. So then we get to season 6 and he's dropped out of film school. He's dropped out of film school and, you know, working with Todd, the director, he's kind of, you just see him growing more. But what's really interesting is how he changes with Joey. Now, you've walked in at season 6, haven't you? Yeah. And seen some episodes now. Because basically you wanted to wrap this up with me. Yeah. And see where it had gone. So you started jumping back in at season 6. He is so platonic with Joey by season 6. Yeah.
Completely.
He's moved on. He is living a separate life. He has a separate identity. He is not pining after her. In fact, at the end of season 6, season 5, she went running to look for him at the airport.
I saw that episode.
You saw that episode, right? And so she was still making that attempt, and I can't remember exactly now, but he kind of draws the line on that, and it's like, you know,
Yeah.
let's leave it sort of thing, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by season 6, he's not still holding on to that fantasy.
No.
He's not thinking about it at all. So it makes no plausible sense that the writers have stretched out this love triangle right to the very end, the final episode.
Yeah.
And then, because you see, he's not thinking about Joey. Not in that, it's more like it's a memory. It's not a present longing. He's not.
You just watch the interactions, and I was sitting there and I was thinking, they sort of like have like underlined under the surface, you know, sort of talking about, you know, potential with them, and I'm just watching it going, this is completely platonic.
Yep.
There is nothing, this is not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yep. It's a completely platonic vibe, and it was just the writers clinging to this idea. Because they're supposed to be soulmates. Now, what are you, a Gen Z?
Yeah.
What's your knowledge, interpretation of soulmates?
Well, as a word that's not used very often, it just...
Is it ever? Have you ever heard it?
Well, I hear that word, like, a bit, but it's never in, like, daily context. I've never heard a kid my age talk about finding their soulmate, ever. It's just not said. Like, I hear it from things like Dawson's Creek.
Yep.
And other older movies and things.
Yep.
They talk about soulmates and stuff.
Yep.
It's really not that much around anymore.
No. And I think that's the key issue, because my generation, we were really caught up in the whole idea of soulmates. I don't know where it originated. Dawson's Creek is not the origin of it, because if it was, we wouldn't have attached ourselves to that idea so, you know, fully, because it was already there in our culture, in our language. Yes. And us teenage girls back in the 90s, yeah, we were sort of more thinking about and focusing on finding the one.
Which isn't much of a term I've heard either. Like, we don't use soulmate. I don't hear people say finding the one. I've heard a few people sort of, you know, have that idea, but it's not
the
main major thing.
Yeah, it's just some rare. It's not the normal concept.
Yeah.
Every day, not everyone's talking about that. So I think when we look at that, that's probably why the writers were still really pushing that soulmate idea.
Yeah.
Even though when you look at it objectively, particularly now with a different lens, it really didn't make any sense. There was no connection between them anymore. Yeah. So it's interesting that before the series finale, which is the one that jumps forward 5 years, the last 2 episodes before that were back in Cape Side.
Yeah.
They're basically back. It's kind of like a recreation of their childhood, because they're all back and helping Dawson make this movie, which is, of course, about their childhood. It's interesting that I notice in those couple of episodes, Dawson's character regresses a little again, and he does kind of go back to being that kid in the bedroom, not working with a dream, like, you know, and idealizing this and, hey, living in this fantasy world. But I think that's the point. I think he's actually reached that point where Joey lives in that world, in that history, and he's not actually attached to it in the present anymore, and not expecting it to go anywhere. So yeah, we watched the finale last night, and you were very much watching the exchanges between Dawson and Joey, going, this is platonic, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And yet the writers are inserting, but I love Dawson, he's my soulmate, and yeah. So I guess basically what I'm saying is that by the end of, like, Dawson makes a massive change in his arc over the 6 seasons.
Yeah.
It's huge. And he's not the one hanging on to Joey at the end of the day, which is what our memory kind of tells us he was.
Yeah.
Because the whole last episode, was meant to finally tell us who she chooses. What did you say about the love triangle?
Oh, that it was really stupid that it went on for 9 years?
Yeah, she totally made a statement last night. Like, the whole idea of a love triangle going on for 9 years is ridiculous.
It's stupid. Like...
Yes, it is.
Someone would have given up by now. Whether
Yeah.
Joey just goes, you know what, I don't want either of you, or she picks one, or one of them two just go, you know what, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. See how much drama this has caused,
At the end of the day, it's Dawson who checked out of it.
Yeah.
He actually did. The actual character did. The writers just wouldn't let him.
Like, the character did, the words didn't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. There was no chemistry there anymore.
There was none.
And it's just Joey being sentimental and not picking. Like, really.
I don't know why this conversation is kind of not making me not like Joey.
To be honest, yes.
Like, pick one.
Yes.
Move on from
Yes.
one.
The
move
whole
on completely.
problem was always Joey hedging. Always.
I think they sort of addressed that in the final episode, though. She did actually say to Pacey that it wasn't them, it was her.
Her always running.
At least they acknowledged it.
Yeah, they did. And we all know by season 5, this was not... This title should have changed from Dawson's Creek to Joey's Boston. Right?
There was no creek. It wasn't about Dawson.
And they fully... And that happened in season 5, that it became about Joey.
Yeah.
But I think the writers accepted that by season 6.
Yeah.
Because season 6 opens with Joey narrating, and it's all about her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Dawson had become the side character. The poor guy had become the side character in his own show.
And he didn't get the girl either.
And he didn't get the girl either.
I blame his horrible actions in season 3.
It was bad. Like, that is bad.
Like there's reasons it went downhill for him.
For him, yes, definitely. Yeah. He didn't redeem himself at all. He just showed himself to be not the better man. Like,
yeah.
But
he needed to take the backstage a bit. Because I think when they were trying to push him as the main character, I feel like that's when all this negative stuff started coming out of him. Because it didn't make sense to keep pushing him up the front, and yet they wanted to.
Yeah. Well, they had to, because it was... And this is the problem with series writing, because there's not necessarily a clear end. When they go about a season, there isn't a series. They start it, there's no clear end. And you have like story arcs through each season, and they kind of take different directions, which is probably why we prefer books overall.
I think so. Yeah.
Because there is a finite arc that resolves cleanly and emotionally satisfyingly.
Yeah.
With TV shows that go on and on, they basically have to keep re-upping the stakes, breaking people up and redoing things.
And it just gets to the point, like, I think one of the reasons I tapped out to Dawson's Creek is because I'm just watching going, oh, they're going to get together? Oh, well, they'll eventually break up. There's no point watching.
Yeah. And that happens with most TV shows, actually.
Yeah.
And I think it's worse today. I don't really like a lot of the modern TV shows. There isn't that substance and stability.
Yeah, there needs to be, we've had a brief discussion about this before, about there needs to be some couple, a side character, or just a clear couple that's meant to be together, like very clear, so that you just have that show of stability, and it's not just, oh, you, then you, then you, then you. You know that there's a chance at something solid.
Yeah. Well, we do anyway. We need stability, and maybe we're just not modern enough. We don't like all the constant drama and upheaval. That's just not what we like. But yes, that there needs to be that example couple to hold a series together. Gilmore Girls, you have Suki and Jackson.
Yeah, there's a few TV shows that we've named where there's that couple.
Yeah. Suki and Jackson, they're sweet. They have a little bit of conflict, but they stay together. Yeah. Dawson's doesn't have that.
No, like even none of their parents are in a good relationship.
They don't.
Really.
They don't. And then even Mitch and Gail, who are supposed to be that standard, they go through a divorce.
And then he dies.
So there's no guarantee of that safety. There's not that constancy. The most constant character is probably Graham's.
Yeah.
Anyway, Another example I was just thinking of is Grey's Anatomy with Miranda
Yeah, and Ben.
and Ben. I think the reason I watched that show as long as I did was because they were there to stabilize it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying go and watch Grey's Anatomy, all right? If anyone's here judging me about like whatever I watch, but you know, we're talking here about story. I did find though, part of the reason I sat down and watched Dawson's Creek with you girls
Yeah.
is because I wanted you to see what bad relationship looks like. I wanted them to
Dawson's
see
Creek.
Dawson.
This is what you do not do.
Exactly. So, and that's how we look at it. Like we enjoy it, but still with that reality of knowing, this is not healthy. You know, this is dramatized. The whole notion of soulmate is actually, you know, so yeah.
Because it makes you think you, like, once you put that title on it, it's like you can't then break away. Yeah, you can become like attached to that person even when in reality you don't need to be that attached to them anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
And from a Christian perspective, I think your soulmate is Jesus, really. That's the ultimate goal of being that connected with Jesus, because he's the only one that can really satisfy you and let you down.
Yeah.
I think if you...
And not let you down.
Yeah, and not let you down. You invest in this idea of a soulmate. Let you down. Sorry, yes. And not let... Jesus is, he'll always be there and not let you down. Whereas, you know, if you invest in this idea of a soulmate in a person, what happens when they let you down? It doesn't work out, or whoops, he wasn't my soulmate after all. Oh no, have I lost my soulmate? Was I, you know, is there still someone else out there? Is there, it just puts too much weight on it.
It's,
I think it's, So.
Yeah.
So basically I wanted to say Dawson's character is awful in Cape Side, but he actually gets a lot better when you look at it objectively later.
Yeah.
He's not front and center, but actually he's moved on.
So Joey brought out the worst in him.
I don't know. I think they're pulling that whole youthful angle, like, you know, teenager, but he was entitled. He was an only child who was indulged.
Yeah.
But, you know, that doesn't tend to just go away either because you're an adult. So that's the continuity issue I have.
Yeah.
But if you look what you've got in front of you on the screen, Dawson becomes quite a decent guy. And that's actually why Natasha, the actress, that's actually why he got Natasha, even though she wouldn't stay and turn it into a relationship. That's what she was attracted to. He was nice and stable and sensible. So, And you just look at his relationship with Jen, not in the early years, but in the uni years, they were sweet as. He was so sweet to her. I remember one time he was shooting, they had Charlie acting in it. Dawson's film, Charlie and Audrey were acting in it. And I think Jen was getting all stressed or whatever. And he just went, sweetheart, I need you to go home. Like,
I remember that.
Yeah, it was just so, like, she was losing it, and it's, you know, he doesn't have time to sort of manage her right now, and he just said, sweetheart, I need you to go home so that I can get this. And it was so polite, it was so respectful.
Yeah.
And she responded really well to him, and then, of course, the writers just decided, well, we can't have this stick. This is not the plan. We've got to flick this, because they still had to maintain the whole triangle to the end, to the literal dying end. But so Dawson wasn't bad in the end, and that's where I wanted to end up. Feel free to drop your comments below. I'd love to hear. And if there's anything, if you want us to revisit Dawson's Creek and talk about some other things another time, let us know. Let us know what you want to hear, and we'll do that. All right. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.